Okay, today we're going to look at the Explorer and we're going to find which end is correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Explorer and I'm going to lay it on the distal of a premolar, and I'm looking at the relationship between the handle and the distal of the premolar. My handle's not coming towards the midline, and that's what I want. So I'm going to take the other end and I'm going to use again my knuckle rest fulcrum and put my handle towards the midline and the lower shank on the distal of the premolar, and the functional shank will now come up and over. Let's just do a switch on this one again. This one, if the handle's towards the midline, the shank, functional shank, will go across the two surfaces as opposed to going up and over. So this is the end that I want to be using. If I'm on the lingual of these particular teeth, then I'm going to flip the end and come in on the lingual. For using the 1112 Explorer, we're going to take our instrument and we're going to insert, I'm going to move this just a little bit, on the distal line angle of your most posterior molar. And I'm getting ready right here, and then I'm just going to take my instrument and I'm going to be moving it slightly. I tend to be moving on my fulcrum, which is on the side of the face. And as I roll to the distal, my hand's going to move distally just a little bit. I take my instrument, I reinsert it. My handle's going to come towards the apex of the tooth, so handle on the maxillaries comes up towards the apex so that I can reinsert on the distal line angle. I'm going to rock on my fulcrum, which is the back of my hand, very light motion, and going to pivot on my fulcrum, and as I come towards the mesial, I'm going to start to roll. When I finish with the stroke, the lower shank will be parallel to the long axis of the tooth. I take my instrument out, I'm going to readjust in my hand, and you'll notice that my hand is farther down on the handle because I'm on a third molar, as opposed to being way up here on the functional shank. We need to adjust where our hand is when we're farther back in the mouth. So now on the tooth number 2, I'm going to look at the distal line angle, and I'm going to insert. I'm rocking on the back of my hand. I'm pivoting on my fulcrum, and as I get towards that distal line angle, that interproximal area, I'm going to start rolling. I go a little more than halfway into the proximal area. I take out my instrument, I turn the tip towards the mesial. My hand again is going to come up so that the handle is coming towards the apex of the tooth. I insert at that distal line angle. I'm rocking on the back of my hand. Very light, feather light touch. I'm going to pivot on my fulcrum, and as I'm coming towards the proximal area, I'm starting to roll. And now I'm pivoting and rolling. Terminal shank is parallel.